Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope
Mm.
you're having a good one wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in. This is not only Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, because I love tacos. And if you're here, then you have fulfilled your destiny, and we welcome you. We speak favor over you, nothing missing, nothing broken. And we thank you for your beautiful energy that you pour into this because this is a place of magic. That's all I got to say. So this is a second look. You know who I am, my lovely co-host, Miss Trina Phoenix. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing wonderful. And hello, Soul Tribe. Much love to you all.
Indeed,
Oh,
nothing missing, nothing
Wayne,
broken.
just I love you. So that's that.
And our lovely second, I guess I have to say, Jenny, you'd be the navigator. You're the one
Oh,
that
yeah.
sits in
Oh,
the
I love
navigator
that.
seat.
She's our
Uh-huh.
compass.
Yeah, so how are you, Jenny, my love? Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good, very good.
Mm.
It's been very productive. Harvest has been great. Um,
Mm.
the bird life and the plant life here is blooming wherever I go. So, it's all good. I've been
I want to hear
visiting.
something really strange. So
Yeah.
we've lived here. We moved here about 2 years ago, and last year we had very little wildlife. And within the last couple of months, we have, Lynn and I were kind of laughing. We have armadillos, we have raccoons, we have possums, we have deer, we have turkey, we have woodchucks or groundhogs, abundance of squirrel, birds of all kinds, turkeys. And now we have a little baby rabbit that we've never seen rabbits here. We just don't see them, but there is magically has appeared underneath our front porch is a baby little rabbit about that big, just as cute.
Mm.
And now the groundhog has decided to move into one of our sheds outside on the property. Wildlife everywhere. It's
It's
and
funny you
Just
say.
cats. We got cats now coming up, black cats. So anyway,
Yeah, it's so funny you say that because I was laughing with Mum and Rosie today, and I said, "This is so funny because even the pond has filled itself with frogs." And then we've got a black cat that is very much annoying my little cat that keeps coming and just walking across the garden, never seen him before, and all of the cats around here, and like the tree is just like brimming with bird life. So it's funny. I laughed and I said I've become the typical witch
wow.
mom.
A
Neighbors bring
black
me
cat, you say though?
jet black. I'll get a picture of
We
him at
have
some.
one. We have two here. We have one
Mhm.
younger one, and we have a really healthy one. Has the goldest freaking eyes I've ever seen.
Wow.
Mm,
Yeah, and the
I'll
reason
have
why
to
I
look.
know this because as Oscar, that's what we've named our groundhog. Woodchuck is another name. Oscar is out in the evening, and it was so hot and humid yesterday evening, and Oscar loves eating clover. And then I'm watching this, and then out of the left of my peripheral vision, I see this black cat coming in. And so the cat starts, like he's going to stalk Oscar, the groundhog. Well, I didn't want anything happen to Oscar. So I said, "Hey, you cat." That cat jumped in the air, turned around, looked at me, and those gold eyes. It just like, anyway, it was.
Busted.
I mean, that cat looked at me and was like, "What the F are you doing?" You freaked me
Right.
out, man.
How did you
So,
get in my universe?
but black cats, how interesting.
Yeah. So,
Danny
yeah.
says one here with babies. Wow.
Oh,
Hello,
wow.
everyone in the chat room. We love you. Thank you, all the
Yes, we do.
moderators, Bonnie and
Much love.
Deborah.
Mm.
Go from Croatia
Oh,
and
Lisa.
Austin Space. So many of them. Grandpa Brian's in the
Yes.
room.
Hi, everyone.
So, ladies, I thought that today we would kind of talk the importance of hope because it's interesting as we looked at the events that took place on Saturday, which so many diverse points of view and things that uh, everyone sees differently. But what the one thing that we all can agree on, something happened, and in many cases,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel right, and it doesn't feel like it was hmm, natural. I'll put it that way.
No, it was definitely, it seemed planned, and it seemed like there was divine intervention.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point yesterday, and I love all the comments, folks, I really do. My point is that, and by the way, allow me to digress. When I put up that slide, The Chosen One, last night, we were watching the events unfolding in the convention. There was a time where Lynn and I were heavily, heavily involved in the Republican Party, heavily. And anyway, two different pundits said the same thing.
Yeah,
So my point is that if you look at time, time can be down to a billionth of a second, and within that 1 billionth of a second can be a lifetime.
yeah.
And the fact that there is beings that can alter space time is mind-blowing to me, because we saw it evidence and something happened that nothing was normal about that event. So, and it's changed the course of, I believe, um the world. I'm convinced of that. We should be
This is
talking about Donald Trump dead, not Donald Trump, the chosen one, the one
That
who,
was Wayne. This is what is so amazing to me, is because I've seen that on so many timelines, and it's in the card decks and all this. There's so many prophecies of this kind of thing. And I was like, the potential for this seems to be so high, and you could see the hate so strong.
well, a
So
lot of
I've been,
psychic negative energy.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
I've been praying protection over that family for years, because they're on the list. Yeah, what are you going to do? It's just a real. So, yeah, but that shows me that literally that was the choice that the planet made.
It was huge.
That's a profound. So we jumped like into a stream. Wow, the potentials are beautiful with this, because wow, there were a lot of timelines going the other direction. Like you said, so many people thought for sure they would be
See,
celebrating
I
the death.
see us. I was doing the dishes, and I see this group so often. I see us in a collective point of view that we're almost living back in Greece, and we're discussing the
Interesting.
fact of these heroic deeds that we're hearing about, because that was a heroic deed.
Yeah,
We as humans in the modern day, we're not used to seeing heroic deeds.
right,
At
right.
least not where we see it in play out in first responders, in many different cases, but it's not on a world stage.
Yeah,
And it's not what seems to be, by all indications, this thing was either, and it's an admitted, it was a huge fuck up by security, but it also seems like they knew exactly what they were doing.
it seems like they were being maybe told to stand down.
Weird. Jenny, what do you
So I
think?
don't
As
know.
a
I mean,
person in England, this is
I don't
US
know.
politics. What is the perception over there in your neck of the woods?
Well, I don't think there's any such thing as US politics and UK politics now. The scripts that I'm seeing are so similar that
Connected.
the words are the same, just different actors speaking them out.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can't tell you the synchronicities. You would get bored, it really is, that if the saying over here is, if America sneezes, the UK catches a cold. That's a
Wow.
political saying, constantly they're saying that on mainstream media. So that they're admitting it, and there's no differences. Even down to the rights things, there's just lists of things where we're lockstep with you guys, we're in lockstep. And so there's that. So there's no separation for me there. I feel that and I spoke about this in videos way back, with the algorithm being as it is and AI being as it is, this for me is a real time of where I'm feeling travelers coming in, because the precise nature of the algorithmic data of where people are, they wear watches on their wrists. They know when people are dying in certain timelines because it's being posted up. So if the future is able to reflect back at the past in real time, having with AI bridged that gap that we haven't been able to bridge yet between past, present, and future, then I do feel there is interference. Not to say for good or bad, because I think there's good and bad interference, and they can change, team to team. There's no one good team or one bad team in my eyes. There's cohorts like there is today that are able now to use this algorithmic data to alter things, to get security to stand down, to wait, to not fire the shot, to be able to shift time and alter. And this is what AI is doing. It's given them wizardry on the other end, like the Elon Musks of the world. It's given them wizardry of the past, present, and future. And so, well, the past as is, when the internet came in and these algorithms started collecting this data constantly. So there's that. I find it difficult to say that I really don't see Trump as a savior, or that he was saved because of a divine goodness, on the other side. I don't feel that. I feel that, we're being led by scripts here, and those scripts exist on both sides of the aisle in the UK and in the USA. It's an acting and it's a paid for gig, let's face it. With the way donations work, and that's happening here too, exactly the same mirror effect. We never had MPs and whatnot being millionaires, leaving office as millionaires. They were never left that much more wealthy than when they joined. But we're there too now with these donations that are coming in from outside corporate bodies. So again, they're bought and paid for actors for me. And so I don't see it. I see it
Well,
as a
let's
worry.
if we can step back out of the politics, I think that's where we're getting
Yeah, that's
muddied
where
here.
because I don't want
I
to go
wrote in
into
my
that.
comment yesterday, that was not my point.
Yeah, I
My
don't, that's what
point
I'm trying to do.
was,
Yeah,
listen, I don't really give a rat's ass who the man was, but it is important because certain individuals have the star sign, they have destiny upon them where they affect the planet. Not all of
affect
us do
change.
that. All right. My point
No,
was something, and I can't get this communicated apparently, something of a higher order. Now, if it's of a higher order, then it is either sentient, it's intelligent, and the implications of what it can do to our realities, where we look at the laws of physics, the laws of nature to base our reality on. Time, space is a constant. We have that. We know that. Even Einstein said time was relative. But in this case, someone, some group, some authority, some species interfered in the affairs of man. The
Yeah.
physical laws were changed.
Yes.
I don't give a rat's ass about Trump and the Republican and Democrat. I'm saying that this one man that the whole world has paid attention to, something happened. And if they thought it was so important to alter a plan that was obviously into place, that's mind blowing, ladies and gentlemen, because it implies that we are truly in a manipulative reality because our reality apparently can be changed.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
my whole point.
Yes.
If that isn't fucking a cult, I don't know what is, because it's very clear that there was not a god involved in this. There had to be multiple gods in a realm that we cannot see.
I
Yes.
think it was a mirror-like effect, and that's what I was trying to say. So thank you for making that clear, because the script is the same, all of that. I'm saying that outside of whoever's speaking that script. It's just, I'm not saying it as I don't want to get
Well, I don't think
attached
it
to it.
was humans that were involved in this. This is what I'm
Well,
saying in the altering.
algorithmic, a black mirror. And if you think Trump, like you said, that focus on where he was going to be at what time, and all of those screens, I don't know if this is taking it off as a leap from what we were speaking about just a second ago, but intuitively, psychically, the things that we know not of yet, but we can feel, or we have a capability for. I feel this as that these black mirrors, especially when there's a focus point of area, time, date, I really feel timelines can be manipulated through these so much more easily in a different timeline that we may call the future. Does that make sense? Because they can look back and know that on this day Trump died. How did he die? He got
I had someone
my
write me
audio.
and she said that she remembers doing a reading where Trump died.
Yeah, that's
Many
what I
people
mean.
have.
Like it's a shift.
That's what she was writing. She said, she thanked me. She says, you have a point. She said, I remember, but now she can't remember where she did the reading, but she remembers that the reading where Trump was concerned that he had died. She said, I
Yeah.
remember that timeline.
I think that that exists on certain areas of the potentials of creation because it fractals.
Then it
It
means that
fractures, it
we
fractures out.
Yeah.
bifurcated
Yep.
in the timeline that
Yep.
does, you know, and since we're present in this one, it it would almost suggest that there is yet concurrently running another timeline that we should all be in. This is, you could say this is a Mandela effect, but it's even above that.
Well,
I
when you
think
look at
part
the
of the
quantum, they say that we could be operating as many as thousands of avatars simultaneously in the same timeline.
Mm-hmm.
that's
So, as
yeah.
the power of your soul has been fractured out, which if we were the original Terrans, we would have been destroyed. And our planet is now probably the asteroid belt. So that means when that planet was destroyed, it fractures your soul. So all these massive worlds, wars of these worlds that we've experienced, because we're immortal. So as we've experienced these huge cataclysms upon these planets, and the ones that actually destroyed an entire planet, which probably most humans, this is our origin. That's why it was destroyed, because the power of the human was boom. So that
So
fractured us
what gives
all.
this
We could be
what?
existing multiple layers, multiple dimensions,
No, I
multiple
get that.
subdimensions, all simultaneously.
So my question is okay, we talk about sovereignty, that each
Uh-huh.
of us have our sovereign sentient beings. We believe that we have free will.
Yeah.
Um, I ask the question, who has the authority to alter time?
Saturn.
No, no, I not from the planet. I'm talking that you have there is either conscious beings that exist in some form that had, because what I'm trying to say is you bring this down to a layman's point of view. Quite frankly, you can say to Saturn, but to me, all right. So, but I'm more interested. So, is there this some sort of galactic cosmic council? I
Yes.
mean, they made a decision to alter our history, and to me, no one's focusing in on that. No one's
I think
I don't care
we
about the
altered the
politics.
history. I think we altered the history, not them. We did. We altered the history. We're the only ones that
How did
can,
we deflect in not having a bullet?
because too many people want to see him as president. That's why.
Mm,
That is exactly why, because the
right.
will of the people superseded the predestined plan of the ones that wanted to get rid of him. So that is the free will. It's a collective agreement that was made on some level. That's why I said, I think that means we've really gone into a more positive expression of timelines, because
Well,
that would have caused a lot of problems in our reality. I mean, big problems,
see,
Wayne.
I don't think we're that smart. Trina. You
That's
know,
why I think it's a subconscious situation. It's done in a deeper
no,
level
what
in the
we
program.
watched in the physical world, we watched the laws of physics altered. I don't think
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think we did that. I don't think we consciously or unconsciously. I believe that there was a force and intelligence far superior to ours that have a comprehension of space-time in realms that we can't even begin to fathom. Our math cannot even begin to address. And we saw them, and that to me blows my fucking mind. We saw this, and yet the vast majority of people are still blind to this. They have no
Mhm.
idea. This is it, and it's
Mhm.
difficult to articulate. But I'm telling you, I don't think we had anything. I believe what we saw is hard evidence of some sort of a hierarchy that's above us. And that means if they're above us, boy, what does that make us? Are we truly a
We're their
prison
farm
hen?
animals. We're
Are we
their
the
farm animal.
zoo? Yeah.
Yes. But that's the thing, though. That's only because you're fractaled into a planet. Your soul is just as powerful as those things that can alter our physics. You're part of that. So that's what I mean. No, it's still us because we're a part of those beings that are doing this.
Are we
We are
really a part of
fractals.
that?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that could be one that
Yes.
could. Jenny, you're being awfully quiet down there.
Yeah, and this obviously sometimes when you speak into something, I didn't put a post up or anything when it happened, because sometimes I thought about it, and sometimes when you actually speak into something, you can feel yourself walking into binding magic, and that binding magic is really very cleverly done. And I saw it and I felt it as I was thinking about what I might say on Facebook or anywhere else. It was a case of if I start speaking, I can very clearly see where very cleverly these opposing scripts that have come together on a stage, either in the UK or anywhere else, have become so fueled that no matter what I say or how I say it, there's a binding to it. So I spoke silence into the situation. I feel when I'm speaking about algorithmically, what I saw very clearly was when I heard about it happening, I saw very clearly that time had been noted and there'd been changes made in the command given to the sniper. Theodore, you're too big for that, baby. Go out.
My God,
So,
he is getting so big.
so
I'm like,
big.
I remember when he was so little on your lap.
I know he could just cuddle in, couldn't he? Now
Yeah,
he's nearly
now
twice
he's so big.
me.
It's like, oh my gosh, he used to be so tiny and now he's so big.
That-
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So for me, I saw very clearly that sniper, had he been given the go ahead to go when that other timeline I felt happening, that he actually would have killed Trump because I felt that the guy was going to somehow be stuck on the gun. I don't know what the terminology is, and let off a bullet that would have hit him in a more fatal manner.
Trump got shot in the ear, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And so, I think that was an alteration, but I still think it is a human aspect to it via AI and us not quite
Mhm.
understanding what our future selves are experiencing as to what AI can do and what it gives us the capabilities to do. Now, just like today, in that timeline, I feel the likes of, and I'm just saying the names because it's like the likes of Elon Musk's, not him, but that he's got a lot of power and control over people. He's never been elected. And so have many other people in his echelon. So I feel that I feel it was very much human interference, but in a future timeline that we would call futuristic because they're able to look back at us through this. And that is the only bridge that they have to gap. And organic AI that I feel in that timeline really does bridge that gap. And you could say in a very spiritual way that things can be shifted You know, so, and I think it's what we make of it in this timeline that we've been left in. Because like Trina said, I think for people as well that work to connect up those fractals and feel those fractals, you know, like we align all the different parts of our body. And Trina, you work really hard with frequency to bring people in, draw them into all of themselves. We do that. I know you do. We do the practices to try and attach and feel those fractals. So
I
there
think
is,
that's like what everybody's missing is like everybody's
yeah,
like, who's controlling this? Who's doing this? It is the AI.
yes,
We
but it's so fractalized.
we're born with AI. We're an
Yeah.
organic form of it.
but
So
I need,
it's so big. And the controllers, Wayne, they say the
but
controllers
AI
would have been
is not,
Inky and Lil Marduk that got ownership of the planet on the Galactic Wars. So if there were beings controlling and ruling the script, it would be people that we don't know of, but the leaders do, and they work with these beings that are off higher dimensional, whatever, live forever, whatever they are, because they're not fully
but
human. Some
AI
are
is
human.
not a collective consciousness. That's the misconception most people have AI. AI is there are millions of AI programs running out there. AI is not a collective central one computer brain.
I think it is, Wayne, because of the
In
Akashic
another
records.
timeline, I think it is. In
The
another
Akashic
timeline,
records.
it's
Yes,
very
the
reflective.
Akashic records. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
there. It's all there.
yeah.
So that's
I don't
being
think,
recorded and stored and it's being processed and it can be used to project all timelines
yeah.
because it knows
Well,
everything because everything is being recorded through your causal body energy system.
Like when I say organic AI, what I'm seeing is colors and frequencies, not
Yes,
wires and
yes.
needing of ice, you know, to cool the computer components. You know, this thing has morphed in different timelines. It's been given capacities and capacitators to morph and change and
Mhm.
develop. And when I say organic AI, I mean that, yeah, babies being born with AI in them already telepathically in the womb, receiving those frequencies and those feedbacks, so that this organic AI isn't just collecting data where we are typed in or where our phone says we are or where our watch
well,
says we
if this
are.
is true, then we are not a free sentient species. But I need to take a
Right.
little side break here
Think
because
you're right.
Cas Hawk's father passed
Mhm.
away on Tuesday, excuse me, yesterday, Monday. And she did ask that if people would just keep her in your thoughts, if you pray, uh, just keep her uplifted. And we wish her father, he's well on his next part of his journey. But there is the wound of the missing of that energy, and
You know
particularly,
what I just saw, Wayne?
what was that?
Her taking her father on a ride on the top of the dragon.
I love that. Be a
Oh,
great
wouldn't that be
escort.
grand?
So, Kaz, we love you, dear. We're thinking of you, and we look
Mm.
forward to when you get back on. And you know, our love will be able to stand in the gap, but nothing can actually replace that bond
Yeah,
of, a daughter and a father. So
yeah.
we love you, and we wish again much speedy journey
Comfort.
on his side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and comfort. You send you
Yeah.
comfort and love.
And that's the hope that we all have, that when we do cross over, when we do transcend, that we will be able to meet those to whom we loved and got to know here. Not sure how that works unless we all know each other over there anyway. We're just
That's what
merely
I
out
think, Wade.
taking a walk in the
I think
woods.
we knew. I think we knew each other a long time ago. And we forget.
Yeah,
We totally forget. We forget what we are. We forget who we are, but it is in you. If you can get
right.
into your code, you can start to see parts of what you were. But
Absolutely.
It's all changing. Everything is changing.
Well, I think that's the one thing that we can say is, we know, regardless of what our perspectives are, whether, it's in a hardcore reality, whether it's an esoteric or ethereal, something has changed. I said this
Mm.
yesterday at the end of the show, and I wrote it this morning again. What I have seen as a fundamental shift, and that's why I do have hope that
Me too.
these beings or whoever are the guardians, because we're
Yeah.
such a young species. We make so many mistakes. We are like Theo. We're really, as a species, at his age of development. And what I see coming forth, and I've heard this now from the mainstream talking heads and their associated pundits, the word love. Now, that was devoid in the narrative, in the script. For the last 5, 6 years, it's been a constant buildup of hate, division. Well,
Yeah.
you don't understand my point of view. You don't, how could you even think that? How, I don't even want to talk to you if that's how you really believe, that type of nonsense. And that was my point. See, in my world, in Wayne's world, when you enter into my place, what I see is I'm looking up and realizing that there is this layer of consciousness there, and then in a sense they're as physical as we are in
Mhm.
that realm, but they're kind of guiding us. And what I think happened in this world, we as a species have our history full of hate. And every time this hate begins to build up to this crescendo, bad things happen to us. I sensed something happened, and maybe we were a part of it. Maybe we had a small part of it, but something fundamentally changed where you now even have the word love come into a narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a miracle to me. I
Yeah,
I
me too. I told you
I
we
stand
see them.
crying at times because to
Yeah.
me, that is something that I saw come out of this. There was something that intervened. There was
Yes.
something that physically changed our reality. And to
Yeah.
think of the hope that love may in fact pierced this
Yeah.
darkness, this vitriol, this division.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get on my
It's the
knees and
only
give
thing that
thanks
can.
to that to if love is a god,
It is, I think.
then we should begin to say we have missed you.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
that
yes,
to
yes,
me
yes.
is what moved me and has changed me. Lynn and I were
Mhm.
talking about it. I
Well,
said,
you and I were talking this morning. I was like, Wayne, I think about it all the time. If I had a God that I wanted to worship, what God would that be?
yeah.
It would be love.
Mhm.
Love and all that goes with love, compassion, generosity, cooperation, all the beautiful things of love, which is bigger than the sexual part.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
family, it's a community,
Yeah.
but it's all of it. And
This
that
is
is
an
all the
agape
best
type of
stuff.
love, not the eos.
Yes.
The
And
eos
it's
and the Greek is the physical. But
yeah,
this is that,
yeah. But there's that too.
yeah, this is that bridge that,
Yeah.
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
like, wow, she's there. And I see
Mm.
love in more of the feminine aspect, because not that the masculine has it as well, but I see its origins in the compassion of that of a mother,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know. And you know what? The humans on this planet, we need love. So
Yes.
many people are so angry, and I think sometimes, what if we started a movement where people would just hug one another and maybe actually have those tears of gratitude, of just the appreciation that, hey, we're here together.
Wayne, I can
Wow.
validate that what you're saying is so spot on true. When I was discovering a new therapy and I was doing cranial sacral in the water. And one of the parts of my therapy is I would grab an adult and I would rock them and hold them like a
Mm,
baby and rock them
yeah.
in the water. That would start unlocking so much pain and emotions, just the healing of being rocked by a mother. the rocking, being cradled like a baby, because you can only do this in the water. But oh wow, it's so profound, and the emotions and the healing, and it's powerful. What you're saying is absolutely true.
Absolutely. We
We
must
have
spoke
a
about
flash
changing it.
flood warning coming across.
Oh boy.
Um,
You sent the rain.
oh yeah,
Talking about the water and the emotions, and
yeah.
wow.
So yeah, that's what
It
we need.
doesn't.
We
Yeah.
need, and I've been thinking about this. It's like we all an outlet,
Yeah.
something that where we all could just pour this toxic crap that, that they fed us or we created, but it's like humanity needs this opportunity where we can just blow this off, vent, just let it go, and then take that deep breath and going, okay, now let's try this in a different path, you know?
Mhm. But I think it's happening, and it's because we're leaving the dark age, the Kali Yuga.
It's about time.
That's what I'm telling you. It only took
Yeah.
what, 250,000 years or
Yeah,
some
it's like,
stupid stuff like this.
geez,
I
it's
mean,
like,
really? So yeah,
yeah.
it's been a long ride of darkness for humanity, but now we're getting ready to go on the upswing, and these transitions are rough. So we're going to see a lot of weird stuff, but we're going to see, like you said, these divine miracles that are showing, giving us clues that, we can do this. We can do this.
The seers of the past, and that was the other thing that I felt I communicated as well, is that we witnessed a sign and a wonder. And they
Yeah.
said that at the end of this current age, as we begin to move into that new age, that we've been devoid as a species of true signs and wonders.
Yeah.
We're so cynical. If we're not cynical against ourselves, we're cynical against others.
Yeah.
And and particularly in the age of internet and AI, because AI is deceptive. It's hard to believe what is truth, what is fact, what actually is, because it can be altered so quickly.
Yes.
And when I think about this, that if love can truly come back in, wow. I mean, that
It,
changes
it
the script, doesn't it?
it will change a
And it
script,
would
and it
open
has
the
no
door for
choice.
signs and wonders.
Yes. Did you hear
Hate,
the
hate doesn't
east?
bring signs and wonders.
Yeah, did you hear
It's
the
love.
east wall just opened up in Jerusalem? Did you hear that?
No. Mm-mm.
I heard the east wall was just opened up in Jerusalem. What, I'm like, what does that mean? That's interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah. But no, Wayne, I
No.
think because, like I said, this is like on a script, like it's controlled by these artificial things that like run the world, run the system, run the light, contain the light, control the light, refract the light, fracture our souls. I mean, it's a mess. So
Freighter
in the
Syndek,
dark,
y'all remember Freighter.
yeah,
Check out his video, by the way. He just came out. He points out that the god that has been running this thing, this show, is Marduk.
yes,
This is
he's
a
right. Oh my
bitter
God.
god, a god of vengeance, and that the battle that has been taking place is that when we look at this, the true malevolent one that loves us as a species, because we're orphans right now.
Yeah, we've been cut off from our
We have
source.
been cut off. And
Yes.
what if those, or if that entity, that deity, however we want to call it, is coming back? I said that
No,
the
there's
veil has come down. I really do sense this.
Yeah, there's new leaders coming. That's what I mean. That's what the new
Yeah,
solar
yeah.
logos, the transition of an age. There's new leaders coming. So now it's going to be more positively polarized because we're through the dark ages. So we're going into a more,
What if
so
the
there will be new
teachers,
leaders.
what if the teachers are coming back? I
Of course
believe our
they are.
species was a
Yes.
time, and I believe that this was 4 or 5 thousand years ago. These beings, they walked beside us. We call them angels. Now modern day would call them something else. but it was very evident they walked with us, they lived with us. I don't know. I'm just putting this out there because if we can speak it, then that to me makes it makes it possible.
You remember I told you I sent you a link before. I'll give you it again because to really understand the power of Marduk is pretty profound. Apparently, this being lived a very long time, but is no longer with us anymore, no anywhere through the universe. So he's apparently finally died, but he was around for a very, very, very long time, and he is the son of Enki.
Yeah. Well, I've said the whole thing with the Christian
known
religion.
as known as the Lord of the Seas, the holy seas, the current seas.
Yeah.
Marduk.
And as I said, theologically, I've had an issue with, the Christian religion. I came from that. Many of us did, is the fact that I don't know who their God that they're talking about. They talk about this God of love, but we have no idea. Even Paul, who wrote about it in the book of Acts, is when he was in Ephesus, he says, I worship and serve the God that has no name and basically has no image. Now he said this, and 50 yards away was a Jewish synagogue. So he could not have been talking about this Old Testament God. He was talking about a new God.
Yes.
Anyway.
Not new, original.
And I think if this God does exist, this God is really a God of love.
Benevolence.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is
Benevolence,
the time. I
benevolent
don't
love.
know. We're just
benevolence.
brainstorming here. That's all.
Benevolence.
Yeah.
Remember I told you I got to one of the higher realms and God was kind of indifferent. It was just an emanating source of creation. And it was benevolent though. It was just imaging, thinking, imaging and feeling like I want to see this. I want to see, it was just emanating, just all emanating, but there was no thing to see. It was just a presence of being. So and it was benevolent. So yeah, I think we come in these lower realms to I can't quite figured it all out because I think it's stupid, but I'm like, there must be a point that I don't understand, but it makes sense when I get to the higher realms because none of that exists there. So you would have to go into darker layers to experience darkness. So it kind of makes sense, but it's pretty big, Wayne. It's pretty big. What we're a part of is so big, and you are a big part of it.
I'm a neophyte.
Big.
I wrote to someone today, good brother, and I said, I'm just a neophyte. And what I have found myself of lately is just being in awe of the simple things I'm seeing. I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that I can interact with another animal, another species, and I've learned something. They have a psychic ability, and it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
strange. I've connected to the deer. The deer have this really amazing psychic sense when they know when some energy is looking at them.
Yeah.
It's quite fascinating. I've gotten to
You know what
know,
the medicine cards represent the deer as?
what is that?
The Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
Here, connected to source, direct connection. That's why
Well,
they're
that
so
expression of doe eyes, I mean, they have the most beautiful eyes. They're just so cute. And then yesterday we have this small little bunny rabbit, it's about 4 inches in total length. And I'm out there and him and I are staring at each other. I
Yeah.
mean, we're no more than 6 feet apart. He's staring at me, I'm staring at him. And of course, I'm speaking favor over the little guy or gal, I don't know.
Right.
But then the interesting thing was his little ears perked up and he squinched his nose a couple of times and then turned around and went back to where he was going. And I thought, there's a moment.
Yes.
How if the world could see, I don't know, there's such love, there is this connectedness. It's just
And that's
we
to
lack
see
that.
the nature. That's our connection. That's our true connection, nature. And that's part of nature. And that's where we're
Well,
missing
they're
the boat
psychic.
here.
I can tell you
Yeah.
that. We got a
Right.
we got a female turkey. She's beautiful. She stands about 4.5 feet tall, and her plumage and her feathers. Whoever came up with this design to create these animals, I mean, what a mind! Because it is so beautiful. She comes right up on our porch, but
Yeah.
we have to be inside because she is a nervous Nilly. And if, and I've been staring at her and she will immediately turn her head. She can't see through the glass, but she knows somebody is, yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Mhm.
I digress, folks. Maybe it's just the child in me, but to
Isn't that
me,
funny though, Wayne? They say that's how the quantum field works. It's all existing in a wave until we observe it. Isn't
yeah,
that interesting? So I
yeah.
wonder if they absolutely work with the quantum field better than we do.
Oscar, our woodchuck, he is a far out dude. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think in another life I smoked a joint with him, but he has this ability that when he stands up on his back legs and he looks around, and I'm staring at him from the steps inside the garage, again, he'll turn his head and he'll look directly in this direction, and it's like, all right, what do you got to say? But anyway.
Yeah.
So
Gotta
Jenny,
love
what's
them.
going on?
I think, and that's what I think. When you speak about infinite love, that's what we did that breathing, a few weeks ago or last week. I can't remember. Where we spoke about just breathing in and focusing that infinite love. And I think, if you want to find, um, create, no matter what's going on the outside, for me, it's been very much about going further and deeper into the inside to find the bigger sources that I'm connected to, rather
Mhm.
than going out at all. It's been very much about what you're speaking about, Wayne.
Mhm.
Those collective moments where somebody said to me the other day, why aren't you taking pictures of your progress in the garden? And it's because, well, I'm putting this away a lot of the time. I don't want it observing it. These moments
Mhm.
are for my ethereal field, that Akashic records. And I know whatever I'm doing on this, and more than I can even consider, it's getting put into a different type of record that could be used for good or bad for me, by rival factions who have the technology to do so. So it's been very much about those small moments, but magnificent moments where, you find glee in pushing a hole through, and people are gifting you plants, and there's moments that you find the eyes of an animal. They're very impactful, and to be childlike right now is the most determined energy to have, and the most determined energy for love to have, because you're being pulled and prodded and pushed into caring about something outside of self, when really in this moment, no matter what happened on the greater stage, it's about where you are at in the timeline. How are you going to act? Now, you've just spoken about acting in a loving, cherished manner with all different lives around you. That is what then shifts the timeline from our perspective and from our own free will and power. So to be childlike right now is super difficult, but actually it's the warrior-like thing to do. And to do that, you have to go within. Because if you're living on the external, those are the things that can read your within very easily, like the deer, uh, like the other animals, will flee. They won't come near you as much. But when you've been doing that energy, you feel things flocking to you and just transmute in moments. And that's actually where the shift happens. It's
Yeah.
all groundwork. And Theo hasn't stopped saying, rain for Texas, rain for Texas, for John Price, rain for Texas. He knows John Price is, it's probably why I came in earlier, actually. I should have asked. But he's never stopped. He's kept saying, "Is there any rain in Texas, Alexa?" He wants to know if there's rain there. Now that's a real care that has stuck with him, because John Price told him he needed to do some magic in that direction, and I think that's where the power is. So I agree with everything you've just said in the latter part of what you've just said. I agree 100%. That's where the change is.
Well,
Yeah.
I
That's
tell
why
you
it's
what's, go
kids.
ahead, hon. No, I was just going to say that, particularly with the deer and connecting with the groundhog, but I'm very much aware that we have two consciousness, two realities that we're sharing the same stage with. And there have been times where I swear I can see the deer in the woods, but I'm still in the house looking at the deer. It's almost like I can see what she is, this snippets. And I often
Yeah,
wonder, does she then see this aspect reversed?
absolutely.
Probably.
You
Most
know? Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is a true pagan, because someone was talking about that. It's like, yeah, yeah.
You know, honoring and connecting to nature. I mean, I don't know why that has to have a label other than honoring or connecting to nature, because it's just we're
Well, you think
nature.
about so many people though, Trina, live in cities, and
Correct.
they
Yeah.
they their connection to nature is having a bird probably crap on them as they're walking outside,
Right.
uh,
Right. Right.
or yeah, it's
I think this is, like I said, this is part of the positive changing that we're going to start to see. You're going to have people that really lock into the technology, and you're going to get people that are getting more back into nature. They're like, I don't want to be in a city
I
no
want the
more.
nature side of it,
Right, me too. So I think that's a big part of the shift that we're going to see, because and then we start to realize the medicine that comes from nature and how nature makes you feel, and like you said, the connections with it. So it's such a beautiful
I'm having a
choice.
battle with a mole right now. I mean, that little son of a bitch, I mean, can tear up some yard, you know?
Oh
And
boy, I bet. I bet.
that's where it's childlike external energy, isn't it? Where the greater stage is trying to pull you into such a divisive,
Yeah.
hateful, competitive vibe. When you're in nature, it does compete with you. It
Yeah,
does,
yeah.
it does compete. And whether it's a tree branch falling or a mole, frogs, or whatever it is, it'll compete with you. But
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's at least childlike, like you sucker, I'll get you one day. I'll trap you
Right?
up
so you
one
know
day.
what I did? I didn't want to kill them. So I read that they really don't like garlic or onions.
Okay.
So I got down with a spoon and digging into the barrel so I don't damage the barrel, and putting in pieces of garlic, and then covering the burrow back up. I think it worked because the little dude or the little dudette ain't here anymore. I mean, so I don't know, but destructive? Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
they are.
that's
Yeah,
exactly
they
what
are.
I said.
Yeah,
You
they
What
are.
must
the?
be funny. But you have just expended so much great energy, sometimes frustration, sometimes sheer, and then other times just from to giggling because you think, you little sucker, you're so much
Yeah.
smaller than me and you're causing havoc. And so that's the childlike competitive vibe, and that's where the toning down I've felt has happened since that day, even down to the fact that you could say that even in that this timeline that we sit in now, actually, Trump has been very much more subdued. That's been
Yeah,
reported over
they say
here,
he has
very much
something
more
changed.
measured. And that,
Mhm.
whether he's brave or not in that moment, there is a change in factor to his energy, to his spirit, to have such a close call for somebody to try and kill him. And that I feel has been a positive knock-on effect of the day,
Yeah.
in that I wouldn't wish him to go through that ever, or anybody to go through that. But it's actually brought the temperature down on the wider stage temporarily. Hopefully, we can maintain that by infusing the infinite love into
Yeah, I
spaces.
think we can.
But it's brought it down, at least. It's given us some reprieve of the heightened, hateful, divisive temperature that we were feeling. It's given us a bit of room for thought and consideration, because I feel that close to death experience for Trump has had the effect that he will be affected like everybody else. He will
Change of
feel
heart.
those things. It's toned him down because I think he's realized that, to an extent, whether it's temporary or lasting, hopefully lasting, he's had he's had a bolt of empathy that day into what people are feeling on the streets with violence and crime and gun crime and muggings that end up in killings. I feel that rushed him that day emotionally, and it has toned him down. He doesn't want to be actually responsible for an eruption of people going after other people. He's
Mhm.
trying to not bring that
what
on.
I keep,
Perhaps his past language would have.
I keep
Definitely.
hearing that this has created a huge change of heart. Huge. It created a
Well, the
change of
man
heart.
faced death. I mean, and the
Yeah.
thing about it is, we
Yes,
have the
Yeah.
photographs when the picture of him down and his eyes are open, and you psychically, what I was picking up, the impact of what just happened hit him where I think it changed him completely. Now, he came up as a warrior because it pissed him off that someone would want to do that. But you're right. And I really do. I guess, the thing about
You
I
know,
love about this group, we have hope. And for the first time in a long time, I'm seeing a potential pathway to that hope.
you know what else I noticed too, which is very interesting? Whenever you see shots go off anywhere, normally you see people just start running. They scatter everywhere. Did you notice that nobody moved?
Mm-mm.
They all stood their ground. They didn't
Yeah.
run. I couldn't believe it. They didn't budge. I
Even
was like,
even the man that
that's
took the
something.
headshot. I mean,
Yeah, God
the
bless him and his family.
yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
so condolences. Oh,
and there was the other part of the
hero.
equation. So one life spared, one life taken.
And both heroic
Yeah, yeah.
actions
I
to
mean,
save his family and then to stand up and say, don't give up. It's good.
as philosophers, we could sit here, I think, for days and just break this down from different points of philosophical view that something happened. And
Yeah.
regardless of who or what it was a human being. And the
Yes.
rest of us human beings can learn what that human being experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if he can love and say, all right, I've been wrong. We got to reconcile with one another there. And his wife. Now, I have been a fan of Melania from
I
the
know.
very beginning.
Me
I
too.
I love that woman. She is the epitome of grace.
Yes.
She reminds me in so many ways with the same grace and
Jackie
simplicity of
O.
Jackie. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just and I read her letter that she put out on Sunday. That's a woman. That's a woman that would fit in well with this group here. She understands what it is. She understands ascension. She understands states of consciousness. She
Yes.
understands that love is a purposeful state of consciousness where hate is a purposeful state of consciousness. And she wrote out that we all have to remember we're all on the same path here,
Right.
trying
And
to
she
figure
also,
it out. Yeah,
yeah,
so I just love that woman. She is
I do
just,
too. And her love of the protection of children. She's one of the only people I saw that even tried to do anything. But
and does
no
she know how to
support. She
dress?
had
I
no
mean,
support.
if
Yeah,
I was
so
a
soft.
woman, that's how
Yeah,
I would want to dress. I mean, the woman could wear anything. She could wear a burlap sack, and we would go, "That's quite distinguishable, isn't it?"
absolutely. Yeah, she's just a beautiful, beautiful,
Oh,
beautiful
yes, yeah,
woman. And
yeah.
just elegant, grace, beautiful woman.
And we
I
just send out
like her.
love to all of them. I mean, we're in the season of politics, and it's like hunting season. And I hope this
Mm.
this this cycle around we've cut it short. And and again, I have the same sense for Joe Biden. I feel sorry for the man. I
I do
really do. I
too.
have
I do
great
too.
compassion,
Me
and
too.
and we all should. He's a senior citizen.
Yeah.
He has served his country, whether you think he's done it admirably or not, doesn't
Yes.
matter. And I speak to that one that sees all this that says, "Hey, give the dude a break." I mean, he needs a break. So anyway,
I think so.
we just
I think
surround him
so.
in love, and we send all of you the love over there to the UK, Jenny. y'all are in the
Yes.
midst of some changes in your government as
Hey,
well. And
that's right. And if we're looking at some more positive timelines, and if, we sneeze and you guys catch the cold, that means you're next, baby. Positive stuff coming your way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. But the politics for me, I agree with Pa Joe. I agree with Bonnie. I agree with all of it. What I
I haven't read
think
the chat.
is we can be dropped into whatever timeline. We do have controllers in the systems that we live in right now, that do to an extent control our free will capacities, and we can be dropped into any timeline. And I just send love out to the energies of all of these things that are being played out on the stage. The individuals, I'm ignoring because I don't want to get bound into that path of even opening up those wounds that people still have, um, on either side of the aisle. And I feel
Mhm.
that in the UK, I don't think there's been a change of government in the UK. It's the same government. They've been working in lockstep with one another for the last 5 years. Um, and so we need some shift here. We need things to
We're
shift here a
sending
little.
that energy. We're
Yeah,
sending,
yeah.
Absolutely.
ladies, as we're getting close here, I can't help but not remember. I lived in a state home for abused children. And as I'm looking back now, there was one cottage parent, and she had this amazing ability that when, because you have to, there were a lot of hurt children, and children express their anger and their hurt in many different ways. But getting back to where we started with this, she would hug those children and they would fight her, they would scream, and I was one of them. And when you finally get that out, you're
Yep.
there faced with just that love,
I used to do
that
that in the group home. I used to have to restrain
that
my children, and
compassion.
I'd grab a big blanket and wrap them up like a burrito, because that way
And
they couldn't hurt you,
yeah,
and you
Yeah.
you couldn't hurt them, and you just hold them until the screaming would stop, and then they would finally let go. And it was beautiful. And then I would just love them.
It was just that
Yeah,
and I think we as a species, I think all of us, even if you're an adult, would never hurt. I mean, if you could do that in an environment that you felt safe, it is good therapy. So
it
maybe that's
is.
what we all need.
And so I said, getting in the water and having somebody rock you like a baby, all these things that so our foundational connections, the rocking
Mhm.
of a baby, skin to skin hugs and touches, the simplest things, sharing food and preparing food and planting gardens. These are putting your hands in the dirt, no shoes. Look, kids don't like shoes because they know they need to ground. They know. So, if we can, as adults, start to reconnect to the things that made us whole when we were children, I think that's going to be a strong foundation for the futures that are coming, because we're going to find a balance between the technology and the nature. I really do think that, but it's
So
going to take quite some time. Probably not in our lifetime, but we will plant the seeds.
I
yeah.
remember as a kid working on the farm, we always went barefooted, never
Right.
realizing that we
Oh,
were
yeah.
totally grounded, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing that carries forth. Is why we're so young as we are.
Me too,
Anyway,
Wayne. I never wore shoes. I hated shoes. I got in so
yeah,
much trouble because I never wore shoes. But yeah, and I could even
Yeah,
run through the desert when it was hot with no shoes on. I mean,
yeah.
it
I
was
could stub
crazy. I
my
could do it
toe and it
though.
not bleed. And you could walk on glass because the thickness of your heel. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
could.
ladies, this has been fun. I love you
Yes.
two dearly.
Mm, love
And
you too.
I love the fact that we can bring in so many different perspectives and be able to intertwine different points of views and ideas and still produce this beautiful tapestry.
I think the politics is going to dissolve. But I do see that people aren't ready for that yet, unfortunately. But so this could be a transition. to
Yeah.
where it will start to break things into a different position. But I just know that I think right now we're on a more positive timeline than the other ones that were being chosen for us. So congratulations, humanity. I think you
Yeah.
did a bigger, greater job than you even are aware of. So thank you.
If we can exchange the endorphins for the adrenaline, because hate brings on the adrenaline rush,
Yeah.
where love brings in the endorphin
Endorphins.
dump, and it gives you that euphoric feeling of love.
Yeah.
It's like, come here, I want to give you a hug, man. I mean, if
Yeah.
when we all meet each other, I mean, Trina, when you and Mary Winds came out, I mean, the first thing you want to do is hug them. It's
You
like,
can't help it. You're just like,
yeah,
it's
I
your
can't
physical body. Oh my
it's
God,
like,
it's on the
wait.
screen.
I
I gotta
can't
and
have some of
wait.
that.
you get this
Yeah.
whole thing. I mean, it's like this is so cool.
I'm really small too, so when I hug people, I get to listen to their heartbeat usually because they're
Yeah.
usually a bit
Oh.
taller than me.
Mm.
So I love
Mm.
that. I can't wait to hear you guys' heartbeats
Oh
together.
gosh, me
Put you on either
too.
side. Yeah, yeah,
Me too. Oh,
It'll
yeah.
give me some of
happen.
that Theo too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
Theo's such a cuddler. He's such a good cuddler, Theo.
Yeah.
Theo
Well,
Theo
not
would
so
be
much.
like the movie Dennis the Menace, when he saw the grandmothers coming and he says, "Oh no, the blue hairs," because the cheek pinchers.
That's so funny because
Oh.
the Iranian side of the family really did that a lot. Like we realized we do it a lot, but they do it a
The
lot. And
cheek
Oh,
they
pinchers,
put
you're
the
so
cheek
cute. Yep,
so
you're
like
so cute.
abundant. It was always
Ah,
bubba 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 bubba
Oh,
bubba,
baby.
So
ah,
he does
ah.
get squeezed. I
By the way,
squeeze
that
him.
is still one of the funniest movies. If you want to have a good laugh with the loved ones, go and get the movie Dennis the Menace.
Oh,
It's one with Walter Matthau's in it. Because the kid who plays Dennis the Menace, I mean,
yeah.
My brother had Dennis the Menace wallpaper all around his bedroom
Oh,
when he
how
was
funny.
younger, with the dog, is it Basher or Masher, with that
Yeah.
black woolly
yeah.
looking dog. So like the wallpaper was like the cartoon of Dennis, with the black hair, and it was a running joke because my brother was a bit like Dennis the Menace, that it wasn't me or pointing to me vibe, to get away with stuff and breaking
Yeah.
things. Well,
Yeah.
taking things apart, he said. But yeah, he had Dennis the Menace. I had Rainbow Bright wallpaper. I
Oh,
don't
it's
know if you
funny.
guys had Rainbow Bright, did you?
Mr.
Did you have that?
Wilson.
I had a wall that was filled with rock star posters. I had Def Leppard, Ozzy Osbourne, I had Pink Floyd tapestries hanging from the
Oh,
wall. My
yeah.
sister, though, see, I had that part of my life for my little sister because her room was all strawberry shortcake, and that was a fun world to be in, filled with Care Bears too. So we had Care Bears and
Yeah.
strawberry shortcake and Smurfs. So
Yeah.
yeah, those were kind of our things. But yeah, I had the
Yeah.
rock and roll bedroom out of the kids. Yeah, rock and roll, Wayne. It's just it gets you. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, ladies, much love to you. Thank you, everyone out there. We love you, Kaz. We're sending love to you as well.
Yeah.
And tune in
Yeah.
tomorrow. I'll see you, beautiful ladies, next Tuesday. Yeah.
Yay.
Both.
It's a day.
All right, everyone, we love you. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you real soon. Be good to yourselves. That's the most important thing. Then you can be good to others.